Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, and my co-host will be joining us shortly. We have a great lineup again tonight, as we always do. I have a few housekeeping notes at the top of the show. One of them is that for the Black Authors Matter Children's Book Awards, we'll be announcing the finalists on the August 11th show. So for those who submitted a book and wondering when they'll know if they made the cut in terms of being a finalist, we'll be announcing them on this show on August 11th. Also for the National Black Book Festival, our space is rapidly filling up. So we are at 91% as of today. And we have a built-in drop-off number. So we don't do a waiting list because we always have some drop-off, a certain percentage. So we build that into the numbers. And so once we say it's sold out, it's really sold out. So we're at 91%. And so if you want to attend, don't wait. And finally, we are posting photos of the participating authors who will be at the festival. We're doing about one per day because, you know, we always have over 100, 120 authors. So we're doing them individually. Every day you'll see a new person. And go check them out on our Facebook and Instagram pages. So our first guest for tonight is not a stranger to Black Authors Matter TV. She's not new to the show. She's not new to me and or Rhonda. And but she's got a new book. So we welcome back Michelle Stimpson to Black Authors Matter TV. Oh, let's unmute so we can hear you.
Thank you so much for having me, Gwen. I appreciate it.
How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Seems like every time I see you, your hair is different.
It is.
But it's good to be versatile.
Yes, just look for the round face. That'll be me.
Yeah, that's true. Rhonda's going to be joining us later on.
Awesome.
I know the numbers of books you've done is over 20, I believe now.
Oh, yes. It's probably closer to 60, 70.
Oh, okay. It's way. So some of them are novellas, I think you had told me last time.
Some are novellas, some are co-authored. So it's been interesting to kind of do all kinds of different things with all these books.
Yeah, and you've been out there. I met you a little bit over 20 years ago when you did Boaz Brown.
Yes, ma'am.
The signature book. And that was an amazing story. And that kind of launched your career.
It did.
Tell us a little bit about Boaz Brown and just where you thought you were going to be going after that, as opposed to where you are now, where you ended up. You know, a lot of times our path that we imagine is not the same as the one that we end up.
Right. This is absolutely not the path I thought I was going to end up on, because when Boaz Brown, which is my very first novel, still my first baby, somebody asked me at a book signing not too long ago, what's my favorite? And I still feel like Boaz is at one of the very top ones. Maybe because it was my first baby and that kind of thing. But that book came out in 2024, and it was a Christian interracial romance. And I remember after writing that book, my publisher said to me, "Okay, so you ready to write the next one?" I was like, "What? We're doing another book?" I had it on my list as a young woman to write a book. Um,
Okay.
but I didn't know I don't know why it just never occurred to me that I would write more books. I was like, okay, check. That's off my, list of things I wanted to do as a grown up, as a real life grown up.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's not uncommon because when I wrote my first book, I had no plans to do any more.
okay, okay.
So I wrote my first book to get something off my chest, even
Mm,
though I had been writing for years, but mostly,
okay.
short writing,
Hmm.
commentaries, op-eds, and uh, or news articles, you know,
Hmm.
so even a few features, but never a full-length book. So
Okay.
I wrote something to get it off my chest, and then
And then here
and
you
people
are.
still buy that book. And see, it was
Yeah.
2007, no,
Wow.
2008 when I wrote that book when it came out,
Wow. That's
and
amazing.
so people are still buying, and I don't promote it at all,
Hmm.
but they find it somehow, or they find me, and then they go back and look at backlist titles. You know how that is. So
Right, right. Well, God has plans. So,
that's true. And if you're a born writer, which I'm actually a born writer. I've been writing since I was a little girl. Um, it's that's what you're gonna do.
right, you're a storyteller.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. That's even if
so
you weren't writing books, you'd be somewhere telling somebody some type of story, and they probably be like, "Well, I wish she gonna write a book because she doing a lot."
right.
That would be me.
Yeah, and people used to ask me when I wasn't writing books, why don't you write a book? Or when are you gonna write a book? What people would ask me, and I was like, well, I really didn't don't have that in my plan.
Hmm.
So, you just never know. But when something
Right,
is in you, is there and it's
right,
going to come out. And
absolutely.
ideas pop into your head. Now
Yeah,
what made you write because interracial romance wasn't really popular
right, right.
back
Well,
then. And also for Christian fiction, it wasn't popular.
yeah, I don't know if I knew that as a writer. And it was funny because when I wrote it, people would always ask me if I was in an interracial marriage. And I am not. I haven't been in one in an interracial relationship since maybe the kindergarten. So, and then the funny thing is, my father, when he would tell people what the book was about, and they would say, "Is your son-in-law white?" He'd be like, "No, he ain't." He would be so mad. I was like, "Dad, you don't need to get mad about it." He would be so. He's like, "This is fiction." So. But that one really just came about as I was in my faith addressing my own prejudices as a woman of color, as a woman wanting to walk in love, as an educator with students of all backgrounds and races in my classroom. Like, what are the things I'm carrying in myself that were showing up in the way that I was showing up in a classroom? Um, and so I wrote that book really to help myself as a believer as well, to recognize that there are injustices and to recognize things that are going on, but also to recognize while I might want to carry the torch of justice in my heart, I don't want to carry the hate in my heart, or not even so much the hate, but the sense of resentment that often spills over into other areas of life.
Hmm. That's interesting. When I wrote my first novel, I had the friend, a close friend of the main character was a journalist, a black male journalist.
Hmm.
And he ended up with a close relationship with the reporter that was white.
Hmm.
And um, I wanted to do it like that because I didn't want it to be a racial book, if you know what I mean. I didn't want, because it does have an African traditional tribe as part of the storyline,
Mm,
but I
okay.
didn't want it to be a white versus black book. I didn't want
Right,
that
right.
to be the narrative. So I made his close friend, and he had like some awakenings, and he had some things
Hmm.
that he experienced and learned. But people, when they read it, sometimes I say that he's blonde hair, blue eyed, All-American, like
Mhm.
in the first chapter. And
Mhm.
some people who read the book read over that, so they don't realize that he's white because I never mentioned it again till like the end of the book. And so, so when the discussions come up, they'll say, "What? He was white? I didn't realize it." Because if you don't really absorb every
Mhm.
word, you don't. And I didn't want that to be a back and forth storyline. But anyway,
Okay.
I understand what you're saying about wanting to write something that kind of reflects where you want to be or kind of where you want the world to be.
Right. Aspirational,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that often when it's a good story, though, people really don't think about the race of the character as long as the storyline is strong.
Mhm.
They kind of overlook that part of the character. They just want to know the storyline is strong. But when you start to make unless the race of the character is a part of the
Right.
storyline,
Right.
they
Mm-hmm. Right.
don't necessarily think about the race of the character. They just kind of overlook that and they just start to think about the actual character. But I think sometimes we make the race of the character part
Mhm.
of the storyline and then we just start to think about it.
Right. Right. Hi, Rhonda. How are you, Dr. Rhonda?
Yeah.
I'm good. I didn't want to, I wanted to say hi, but I didn't want to interrupt the flow.
No worries. No worries. In the case of Boaz Brown, race was definitely a huge part of that story. In that story, she'd asked God, she had a very specific list that she gave the Lord for what she wanted in a man. She just forgot to tell him what color he should
And
be.
she
So
assumed that. She took that for
he
granted.
assumed
Right.
he would be black. And the funny thing about that, though, is when I first wrote the story, the main character, it was not an interracial romance. It was a romance. And the main character was going to face her racial issues through her brother, who was in the military, who had this wife who was going to be white. And my publisher was like, that's too cliche, number one. But second of all, like, this is her story. She needs to face this head on. Like, can you turn Stimpson from black to white? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe he can. So,
Did you say he was military?
hmm?
Did you say they were military?
No, no, no. Initially, the main character's brother was going to be dating a white woman. And she was going to be
Okay.
falling in love with a black man, but her brother was going to be dating a white woman, and she was going to face her racism kind of in this adjacent space.
Okay.
But my publisher said, well, go ahead and see if you can make it first person because this is her story. This is her struggle. So that should be what happened. So it took him about 9 months to turn from black to white in the revision process. But the essence of who he was, because he was a believer, because he was a kind man, because he had the love of Christ in him, did not change. And so even that process of having to rewrite the novel was cathartic for me.
Hmm. Well, see, I never knew this about Boaz Brown.
I
We've
should go
never
get it off the
discussed
shelf
this
since we don't talk about
storyline.
it. We don't talk about it so much. Let me just go get it off the shelf real fast.
Go on now.
All right. Hold
So
on.
is it still in print?
It is somewhere.
Is
I mean,
the
I have my
paperback?
copies that are on Amazon, and
Mm.
then there you can find copies here and there. People selling them everywhere, as far as I know. That some the original hardcover, that was my first novel when it came out in hardcover, and
Right.
that one you might be hard pressed to get your hands on.
Mm.
Okay.
But the funny thing is, there's a censored version of Boaz Brown. So the first one, which was the hardcover that came out for real at first, is has Hachette on the side of it and everything. So after that first printing, I think the father said hell, or he might have said damn. I don't know which one it was. But the publisher was like, "This is Christian fiction. You can't have." And I was like, "What?" But she had also published Michelle Andrea Bowen's Church Folk, and there was plenty of cussing in that book.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, how you gonna get on me? And this man never professed to be a believer. He never said, that's not who his character was. So anyway, because he kind of went off when he found out, Anyway,
Okay.
so the second version, which is the paperback, does not have the cuss word in it. So if
Oh.
you want the cuss word, hard.
if cussing is important to you.
If it matters to you, if you want that cuss word, then you need to get the hardcover. Get your hands up. It's just like maybe I don't know. It might even just be hell for all I know, but I don't know. But yeah.
Well, hell, it can't be hell because hell is part of the, heaven and hell is part of
Well,
the.
I will never, ever, never question my grandmother's faith because she was a Christian to her heart, but she sure cussed.
Well, but that's the thing, look, it wasn't so much.
I mean, she didn't say the hardcore
Right,
cuss
right.
words, but
Mhm.
she did say the H word, the D word, you know.
Yeah. Well, the
Yeah,
thing
I mean,
about it is,
I think that Christians felt like there were levels to cuss words. There were certain
right,
cuss words that they
Yes,
would not say.
right. And this
yes.
was also 2004. And it was also, I mean, in retrospect, knowing what I know now about the genre, I realized that, if you're at a church, which a lot of, sales for a Christian novel are going to be in a church often, you don't want the first lady standing up there and saying, we going this is the book by Michelle Stimpson for next month, but let me just read a little piece. And then, oh, wow, we didn't know that she was going to have to say that in church. That whole book needs to be readable for the entire body at any point in their walk. So,
Mhm.
that is the thing that I came to understand writing Christian fiction.
Okay. And Christian fiction was a new genre then too,
Yeah, it
especially
was.
in the Black space. I don't know about, white readers. I think they may have had some Christian fiction going on already,
Right.
but in the Black space, it was new. And but people do cuss. We got cussed out on the church bus one day by somebody who when we were coming back from an Astros game as a group trip. So we didn't want to.
Oh,
I think she needs help, but we did get
okay.
cussed out.
Hold on. Give me 1 second to I'm gonna get my Boaz Brown. So hold on a second.
Okay.
I don't want y'all to see everything. So hold on.
So cussing does go on. So Rhonda, how was your day at work?
It was interesting. It was long. No, actually, it went very fast. It was a very busy day. Lots of things going on. My agency is very involved with the FIFA World Cup.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I keep
Yeah.
telling we Americans, we have to stop thinking that we're the center of the universe. And we think that the most popular sport in the world is American football.
Mm.
And it's not. It's really soccer.
Yeah. It's the
And
most popular sport in the United States, but
Right.
not
right,
worldwide.
right. But the most
Soccer
popular
rules.
sport in the world
Mhm.
Mm.
is American football. I mean,
You
I've been talking
you
about it
mean soccer?
I've been talking about it all day, but there was, um, I don't know if everybody's heard of this small, tiny, tiny country named Cape Verde. I don't know if I'm sure I'm going to say it correctly, but there's a tiny, tiny African country. It's an island right off the coast of Africa called Cape Verde.
Mhm.
And they are the third smallest country in the World Cup. And they were put up against Spain. Spain is one of the powerhouse countries. And everybody thought that Cape Verde was going to get wiped off the field because they were going against Spain. Spain had 7 chances at the net. And Cape Verde had a 40-year-old goalie,
Hmm.
the oldest goalie in the World Cup. And this man blocked every last one of those scoring
Wow.
kicks.
Wow.
He was so good that he did not let Spain score. So the game wound up ending 0-0,
Mm.
and which means that the game ended at a draw. So both teams got a point, but they basically said that for all intents and purposes, Cape Verde scored. This goalie, this 40-year-old goalie, had 56,000 followers when the game started. By the time the game ended, he had 5 million followers.
Wow.
When I woke
Wow.
up this morning, he had 7 million followers. When I got off work and got home, I checked again. The man had 10 million followers. That's how popular soccer is. So I have been enraptured with this entire thing all day. So I've been watching soccer.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
So
Well, I've
you
been
have a copy of the Boaz Brown?
I do.
Michelle?
This is the cuss word copy too.
Oh, not the
Oh,
cuss word
okay.
copy. You know what?
The
I
That book
remember
cover.
that.
That book cover looked like it has cuss words in it.
No, it does not. It does not. This is the original. I have self-published one with a different cover because I don't have copyright to this original cover. But
Okay.
it is the same book.
Okay. Yeah, that's what put Michelle on the map.
Yep, I'm grateful for that
So
book.
you have a new book out
I do.
called You Can't Hurry Second Chances.
Can't hurry, second chance. And I put on my pink lipstick to match. Look at that. You can't hurry, second chances.
Now, you know, that takes some thought.
I tried.
Did you do that on purpose or was that an accident, Michelle? You can tell the truth.
No, I didn't. I'm telling you, I didn't even have on lipstick today until I got ready for this.
Yeah, she was telling the truth.
Yes.
It's too out there. It's too far-fetched for it to not be true.
It's the whole truth. I promise you. I try to match. Now, I could have put on my purple lipstick. I thought about that too, but
Okay.
I had my
Or
pink
you
one.
could have done like an orange or bronze.
I could have done a lot of colors with this colorful
You
book cover.
You could.
Yeah. Yeah.
So second chances is a big trope for romances. So what's this book about?
So this one, I wouldn't say there is a thread of romance in it, but it is not specifically a romance book, and it's not actually Christian fiction book, although there's no cussing.
Okay. Okay.
But this one is women's fiction. You can't hurry second chances. A fresh start is a beautiful thing. So we have a main character in this book who is 60 years old. She is newly retired, newly relocated, and newly divorced. She just went through a silver divorce. And so she is starting over in this small town in a home that her father, he always said they would keep this house in case somebody in the family was down and out. And as it turns out, it's her. So she doesn't think of herself as down and out. She actually says what does she say? She's like moved over and reset. She's not down and out. She just kind of, she's over.
Okay. Now, you know, the storyline where the main character, the main female character, is a seasoned treasure. That's what we call them at church.
Oh,
I like that. A seasoned
treasure. Okay. I'm loving it.
Yeah. That's becoming more popular. Rhonda did a novella with that as the main character. And somebody last week, was it AC Arthur? Or the last 2 weeks? I'm looking at oh no, it was Margaret. It was Margaret Johnson Hodge.
Okay.
In her book, the main character was 70 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, you know, the stories not all the characters need to be having a coming of age story.
Right.
You know,
I think older readers want to see more characters who look like them.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as a writer, I can tell you it would be hard for me to write a 20-something romance because I'm not going to share my location with you. Like, I don't know anything about all that stuff. Like, he didn't ding me back and he didn't DM. I don't know none of that.
He ghosted me. You know, we didn't call it that.
All the digital
it
stuff.
It was just he didn't call. Okay, well, whatever.
That's fine. But all the digital stuff, I would not, because I think that's a thing now. When you date somebody and y'all get serious, you're supposed to share your location with them. I'm not sharing my location.
Or change your status on your social media.
All of that.
In a relationship versus and here's the thing: if you declare it. This is the thing about social media that's not good. Okay, if you declare it, if it doesn't work out, then you gotta undeclare it or whatever.
Right.
You got to change it back. Then
Yeah,
that's embarrassing. Then that gives people something to talk about. And then everybody's
right,
in your business. Some
right,
Mhm.
things should just be private. Let's just have a private relationship and not let everybody in it. You know,
right. Well, this is
it'll
why
have a lot better chance of surviving if
maybe so. I don't
yeah,
know. I just know this is why I can't write a current day 20 something
romance.
coming of age romance
Yeah.
because I'm out of touch. I don't think like they think. I don't operate the way they operate. And not to say that one way is wrong or the other, but I'm just saying it would not be anybody who's 20 something years old who read it would be like, this book was written by an older woman because we don't even do that.
Well, Michelle,
So,
let's be real. They changed the rules too much. If you follow social media, every time you turn on social media, they didn't change the rule again. Um,
okay.
you can't pay in cash anymore because you look broke. You can't pay with a Cash App
Yeah,
card because you look broke. You
yeah.
can't
That's what
you
I
can't
yeah.
you can't they can't pick you up from your house because that's dangerous. You can't meet them anywhere. They can't Cash App you but a certain amount. If it's under a
Why
certain
would he
amount, you
cash
look
apping
broke.
you? Why would
I
he be
don't
cash
know.
apping
I don't
me?
know.
Yeah.
When I was
Well,
dating, the guy picked you up. That was what it was.
Right.
I
yeah, no,
mean,
they
you
can't
know,
pick you up
they can't,
anymore
but now I
because
Yeah.
understand why now,
yeah,
because there's some
they can't
crazy
pick you up
people.
anymore because people crazy now. There's
Okay,
too
yeah, I can
there's
see
People are
there's
that.
too many
crazy now.
there's too many rules now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm
People are
out of touch.
people are nuts. We didn't
I
have
don't
nuts.
need to write
Then.
that. I can't write that.
They
This is
were just
why I don't
normal.
write
They
it.
might be weird or strange or whatever, but
Yeah.
they weren't like psycho.
Yeah. No, I don't do that. I can't write that. Plus, my readership is growing with me. Like the people that started with me with Boaz Brown and all,
Yeah,
like we've all kind of grown up together and come
yeah.
of age, and we now have our gray hairs together and all of those things. So, it's nice to grow up for us to have something to read because now our stuff is, well, who is this that my daughter is marrying? And what is going on with his family? Like the drama around all of that is our new drama sometimes, I think. And the
Mm-hmm.
grandchildren drama and like I'm a grandmother as well. So now it's like, well, why did you do that? It's my child. What but that don't make no sense. Like all of that is these are our new plot twists, you know?
Yeah, now I read a lot of historical fiction, and what
Okay.
is probably more than 50% of what I read. With
Mm,
historical fiction, none of that comes into play because the
yeah.
people are set in the past.
Right,
So
right,
they
right.
so there's no technology, there's none of that
Hmm.
stuff.
Okay,
So
so you
I forgot about all those plot twists. Probably the most well, I'm reading a book now. I won't say what it was. Rhonda knows what it is, but I'm
Mhm.
reading a book now that's this younger plot of a younger, not real young writer, but the whole book is, to me, it's just one name drop after another. They
Mm,
have to give the name of the purse that they have, the shoes, the
yeah.
where they
Like
went,
that.
the whatever, and everything has to be high end.
And
Everything.
they're not getting paid. They're not getting paid by those designers.
No, that's what I'm thinking.
Mm.
Did they?
Oh,
Was too
okay.
many names for them to be paid because
Mm.
everything is a name drop, and I'm like, are people really this shallow now? So I don't know. I'm about 50 pages in, and I have to
Are you gonna
decide: am
finish
I going
it?
to DNF or I don't know yet.
Well, I'm gonna tell you now. I want to DNF the book I'm reading, but I can't right now.
Y'all are too funny.
Yeah, I hate those books that you really had high hopes for them.
Mm.
When you first
Yeah, I'm
started,
reading one like that too right now, and it is by a younger author.
and then you're
Um,
like, what?
I don't understand. The thing I don't, I'm not gonna name the book either because people love this book. Maybe the younger readers do, but everybody that I know who's read this book who's younger, nobody my age that I know has read this book. But I have some coworkers who are they're younger than me. They're like, you gotta read. So I read it. I'm reading it. I
Okay.
didn't like the banter between the woman and the man because I know in 10 years that's gonna get real old. But
Well, not
you
even
know,
10. It doesn't even, a lot of these conversation lines, they don't have a shelf life. you can't be at each other like that and stay in a
Right.
relationship. It just
Yeah, that's
doesn't
gonna
work.
get real old. Like when
You
you
know,
the kids start coming and life starts happening for real, all that he's doing right now, that ain't cute. That ain't gonna be cute in 10 years. But
yeah.
I
Well,
did it
and the
because
stuff
I'm a
that
grown
she's
woman.
doing. I mean, some of the stuff is the stuff that she's doing. That's,
Mm,
just taking everything personally, just being too, you know, combative, too
yeah.
argumentative.
Yeah. But I
Who
think
wants that in their
that's
life all
terrible.
the time? So
That's
anyway, we're
terrible.
at the end of our time, Michelle. Show your book one
Oh,
more time.
yes, you can't have second chances. This is
Michelle's
Joyce
latest
Wu.
book.
Yes, my
Yeah,
latest
I'm gonna
book
get
has
it.
come out.
I like it. I like the storyline,
Thank
and I think I
you.
love the cover.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. If you'd like it's a fun book. It's a feel good, fun, little bit of romance in there, but a woman realizing that, you know what, I'm starting over, but this can go well.
Yeah, and it's okay.
Yeah, it happens.
Hmm.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you so much for
Oh,
having me. I appreciate you. God bless y'all.
God
okay.
bless you
Same
too.
to
Thank you so
you.
All
much.
right. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, once we started talking about audiobook narrators,
Hmm.
we've been having them like regularly now. It's
Yeah, I
interesting.
listened. I listened to this. Our next guest. I listened to his audiobook.
Oh, okay. All right. So Earl Sewell is our next guest. He's an author. He has a new book out, but he also is an audiobook narrator. And we're going to talk about both of those things when he comes on screen. Let me see. Somebody had a comment. Let's see. The food in this book will make you hungry. Do you have recipes? So I forgot to check the chat. I'm sorry, Angela. She
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
forgot.
The food in this book will make you hungry.
So anyway, Earl Sewell, welcome back to Black Authors Matter TV.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you
Yes, we
great.
hear
You got the
you.
Golden Gate Bridge behind you.
Yes, yes. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for thinking about me. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you for all that you do. And I was listening to the interview before and I was like, so I was like, oh, that's interesting. Um, you know, with some of the stages we are in life now,
Yeah.
because I'm an empty nester and my daughter is 32 now, so I don't have any grandbabies yet. Um, but I am definitely at a different season of life. And
Yeah.
as a YA author, I'm just like, whew, actually the other day, maybe about a week or so ago, a young reader or a young lady emailed me and said, "Are you going to write any more Keisha's novels? I read them when I was in junior high school, and I'm 30 now, and I still want to go back and read them." I'm like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, well, thank you for remembering me.
I love
I'm
that.
glad. I'm glad the book had that, sort of impact on you, but I don't want to challenge. I don't want to channel my inner 16-year-old girl, at least not right now.
Yeah, sometimes we have to move on. The only time I'll include someone of that age is they would be a minor character and they would be the child of the main character. They wouldn't be the center of attention.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I don't, now I could, my daughter's 30 now, but I could, pick her brain about some things, but I just don't think I could do like a whole character. The character development would be lacking. And that's my main thing when I read a book is the character development.
yeah.
So
I don't know how Goody Bloom does it. Yeah. Yeah.
so Earl, you have a new book, but so I want to talk about your audiobook
Mhm.
narration first,
Sure.
and then we'll talk about your latest book. It's a health related book.
Yeah.
So how did you get into the whole audiobook thing? When did you start doing that? How long have you been doing it?
You know what? In all honesty, when my daughter was a little girl and I would play with her dolls, I would make her dolls talk. And I
Oh.
would give the character voices to the different dolls because, when she was a little girl, her room was everything Disney. She had like Mushu, the dragon. She had Toy Story. She had, Barney and all this other stuff. So when we would have time together, we would sit in the room on her floor and we would have our little creative little things. And I would make her dolls talk and she would actually talk back to them as if they were real. And
Wow.
so,
What you
and so,
what you were involved at?
yeah. So later in my writing career, when that person with the last name of Bezos invented something called the Kindle, and people started downloading books, and bookstores started having issues, I decided to reinvent myself, to because I'm a storyteller at heart. I mean, it runs through me. It is what my fingers are to my hand. It is something that I can not do. So when I decided to reinvent myself, I went back and I got a master's degree in literature. Even though as a published author, I went back and got a master's degree in it. So, and what that did for me, it was like opened me up to the world. Instead of reading just American authors, I started reading authors from all over the world, and it blew my mind because, as an American citizen, I'm trained to read American books and not necessarily read books from, the diaspora all over the world. And I think your previous guest said, America has to get out of the sense of that we're the center of the world. And so it opened me up when I started doing that. But anyway, so that after I did that, then it was a natural progression to like, how do I take this gift that I have and even expand it more? So I hired a coach. I hired somebody who had narrated cartoons, who had narrated for products, and I learned the craft of bringing stories to life. Because people just think, "Oh, you're just sitting there reading." No, you're not just sitting there reading. You really have to get the author's intent. You have to be all the characters. You have to make distinctive character voices. You have to have emotions. And sometimes you may have to speak in dialects that are unfamiliar to you. Like, for example, I had to learn how to, some people say, "Oh, can you do a Southern dialect?" And people say, "Oh, yeah, I can do a Southern dialect," but let's understand what that is regionally. Mississippi is the South, but so is New Orleans. And there's
Two
a
totally different dialects. Oh my
two,
goodness.
two
We can't
totally.
understand a word the Mississippi folks are saying.
So you have to be able, as a voice actor, to be able to make those nuances and voice if the character is from a particular region. Same thing with an East Coast accent. Somebody says, "Oh yeah, I can do an East Coast accent." Well, is that East Coast New York? Is that East Coast Boston? Is that East Coast Philly? And so, they're all East Coast, but they have their distinction, and it even breaks down by culture. Is it
And
East Coast? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
just to jump in, Earl, I did listen to your work on Mr. Jimmy from Around the Way.
Mhm.
And I could tell how challenging it was because you voiced a lot of characters in that story. It wasn't just your main character, and
Mhm.
it wasn't just your main character's wife. Then there were so many minor characters in that story, and you had to voice so many different ones, and I had to be able to know who was talking. So you did a really good job distinguishing who was talking. I always knew who was talking, or when you had to have a conversation, and I knew it was only you talking, but you did a good job changing your voice, having a conversation between characters.
Yeah, and it's so the process of that is, I'll read the entire book, then I have to go through and I'll have to like make little notes on each character, and I count how many characters I have to voice. And then I have to create a file, an audio file of me narrating in that particular character's voice. So whenever that
Okay.
character shows up in a chapter, I go back and listen to the voice I gave that particular character
Ah,
so that
okay.
I can get right into it so that that character voice stays consistent. But yeah, it can be challenging. I mean, I had to be like an 11-year-old boy and a 90-year-old woman and everybody in between. And so it was challenging and it was fun, but at the same time, I I had to really do some vocal acrobatics to to make that happen. So when I'm in the booth and I'm sitting back there and I'm saying, okay, I got to read this chapter, and I have to say, okay, let me make sure I get the voices right. And so, but it's such a fun thing to audibly tell a story.
Yes.
And somewhere in my DNA's history, there was probably a previous version of me way back in the diaspora that was doing this, because I don't know, this is just something that just comes. It's like a calling. It just comes to me. And even when I'm on stage speaking, people say, "Wow, you're a great storyteller when you tell a particular story." And I'm like, "Okay, all right, I accept that. I accept that. It's a gift." So, but I
And it's
love
a
audiobook
great
narrating.
gift to have, because I said it before with the last audiobook narrator we had. A narrator can make or break a story. I have stopped listening to a story, not because the story wasn't good, but because the narrator could not voice the story well, and it just turned. I mean, I think that the only time I have DNF'd the book was when the narrator wasn't telling the story very well.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. It's really a skill, because you're intimate with the listener. You're right here between their ears, so they're drowning out everything else around them, and it's your voice, the narrator's voice, that has to take them through this. So it's a very intimate moment. I mean, just like reading is an intimate moment, audiobook narration is just as intimate.
Yes.
And you don't, like, for example, I have turned down projects because I said, I'm not the right voice. Somebody says, "Oh, I like your voice." I said, "But your book, I'm not the right voice for it." Like, I've gotten offers to narrate Westerns. I don't have Sam Elliott's voice. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I can't go on.
He's
I don't
he's
have,
good. He's good as a soldier or the cowboy. His voice is perfect for that.
right. So,
Mhm.
it's about casting too.
Yes.
Um,
When you were on the show, the last, which I think is like a year and a half ago when you were on, that was when you told us you had narrated Mr. Jimmy from Around the Way.
mhm.
And I hadn't heard of the book before that. And I decided to get a copy of the book because you told me that it was a good book and you did the voices. I don't do the audiobook thing yet. That's Rhonda's lane. I read books. I love to
Mhm,
read
mhm,
them in my hand.
mhm.
One day maybe I might get into the audiobooks. But from what I understand, it the narrator does make a huge difference. But Mr. Jimmy from Around the Way, I read it. I recommended it to our book club. We read it. Um, we all loved it. It was my best read for 2025. And I read a lot of books, but it was my best read for 2025. I didn't get to listen, but it was such and then I read his other book. I can't even remember the name of it now.
Yeah, I know the book you're talking
The
about.
other book that he had.
Yeah,
But I read that after, even though it came out before. It was his
yeah,
first book.
yeah,
And what's his last name? Blunt? Is his last
yeah.
Jeffrey?
Jeffrey Blunt.
Jeffrey
Yeah,
Blunt.
Jeffrey Blunt. Yeah.
He has an amazing way of making you feel the anguish that a male character
Hmm.
experiences. Not everybody can write that, but he
Yeah,
did an amazing job in both of the books of doing that. Just
yeah.
different stories. It was just really great writing.
So that was one of, I was so blessed and happy that he selected me, or that their team selected me to be the narrator, because as a writer, I can look a bit more deeply into the work, because I know the process, and I know what story arcs are like, and I know, I just know writing, and I
Mm-hmm.
know really, really good writing. And when I read that book, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna put my foot in this when I narrated, because I wanted to do it. It was such a great story, and the how do you have an affair and you feel bad for the man that had the affair. I mean,
Well,
like,
I felt bad for the man who had the affair only because the woman who outed him only did it so she can get some street cred, basically. There was no reason for her to out him. There was no reason at all for her to do it.
no. And
He
so,
did a good thing for the community. And she was like, oh, I'm gonna go tell everybody that I slept with him just because he did this great thing. And I want to tell everybody that I slept with him because he did a great thing.
yeah. And I like the fact that it was more than just that. There was the emotional dynamics of it. There was what it did to the marriage. It is what it did to the children. It is what it did to the community.
I could absolutely see why the wife could not feel like she could stay. I totally felt that, and that was a really powerful scene when she really made up her mind why she couldn't stay.
Yeah.
But then she was withholding the nookie.
Yeah. Well,
that is not going to work.
Weaponizing that part of your marriage or weaponizing that part of your life. That's a whole nother conversation about how a man or a woman can weaponize sex.
Well, he did good holding out as long as he did.
Yeah. And so I've had these conversations with book clubs about it, and I said, sex is not a want for a man, it's a need. We need it.
It's like number one with men. I've found out my experience in life, going through this life, being married twice and having a few boyfriends here and there. It is. Women, we're built different. Men and women are built different. And it's security for a woman more so. But for a man, yes. God knew what he was doing because that has helped keep the population repopulated.
Yeah. The humanity, it helps keep humanity going. It helps keep humanity going. But so for that particular title, I just love the depth of the characters and the depth of the complexity that they were going through in life. It was relatable, it was understandable. And and again, I love voicing like the elderly lady, Miss Septima. She was 90 years. I told Jeffrey, I said, man, you got to write a sequel to this.
It was an amazing book. But it's one of those books that you almost would understand if he couldn't do a sequel because it just had so much in it. It had so many layers in it. It's like he probably exhausted everything writing that book. It's one of those, and you don't read a lot of books like that,
I know he's working on another one, and I know it has been optioned for a movie, but that's about all I know. I know.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and if you didn't know, Jeffrey is an Emmy Award-winning television producer. That's his background, journalism, and so he was. I think, he was on the Today Show, or that was one of his shit. Whatever.
Yeah, he was on the show.
Oh, okay. So great. All right.
We've interviewed him. So, and I can't remember if I interviewed him before you or after you.
Okay.
I can't remember that.
He's a great
must have been after because I think you told me about the book, and that's what prompted the interview. He was a really good interview because he talked to us about being a producer and what that means.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's a really great guy. And the last thing I'll say is another book. Well, a couple of other books. I narrated Donna Hill's book. It's been a couple of years. No, it's Anita Hopkins is a story. It takes place in the 60s. It's a civil rights book. I have to look
at it. I read that. It was good. It was remember the title.
Woman with the afro. Why? See, this is what happens when you start aging stuff. Just
and when you read a lot of books, you can't keep on.
Because I've narrated
all those titles and authors' names. You can't. So you just have a lot of data. That's what Google is for. So
And
see,
then
now you've made me think. I'm gonna look it up.
and then
Donna's
there was
book.
another one I did
It was
from
really good. It was
yeah,
historical fiction.
right. Then there was another one that was a really good one that I did was by a South American author, and he was a
Hmm.
tango dancer, and it was a romance book called A Season in Lights about Broadway actors. I love narrating that book as well.
Did you have to
So
speak with a Spanish accent?
I did, and I had to do it as a woman. Okay, all right. With this boy, I mean, I did so
Wow.
many takes on this thing talking about Earl. Don't sound like for example, somebody white trying to talk black, because people pick up on it, it's like nah, that ain't it. That because you don't want to be in their ears, and you're trying to. Somebody can actually tell that you're not from the culture, and you're
Right.
overacting it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you
So,
didn't have to
but yeah.
speak Spanish though. You
I
just
did not have to. I just had
had
to
the
have that
accent.
dialect.
Okay.
I had to have the dialect of a woman from the islands, and then I had to narrate it as a love scene. Oh my God! You talk
Oh,
about
Wow.
challenging to be the
oh,
woman looking at the man talking about his shoulders. And I'm like, well, I never looked at another man's shoulders before and thought, yeah,
how comfortable is that to narrate a
Yeah.
love scene, whether man or woman, when you have to narrate a love scene?
you, it's.
I
I
mean, I know
have to
you're
be.
getting paid, you have to do it, but I
Yeah,
mean, is
yeah.
that comfortable?
I to be true to the moment, to act in the moment, I have to be comfortable doing it. So, that's one of the things that I learned to narrate in the voice of a woman or a man or somebody else. And if it's a love scene, I have to look at what the author has put forth, and really step into that moment and narrate that love scene like I am that character in the experiencing everything that's on the page, whether I'm a man or a woman. So,
Wow.
that's a unique, that's got in the booth and I was like, whoo, it's getting kind of hot in here.
Yeah. Carrie Height said it was really like acting because he did some acting before he did the voice,
Mhm.
and he said it really is. He said acting prepared him for it.
Mhm.
Right.
So, and I guess the same way you being the characters for your daughter's dolls kind of paved the way for you.
Yeah, kind of paved the way for it, and that was the beginning of it. And when she got all her tickles and giggles out of it, I was, I was just being a dad. She just, she was like, make this one talk and make this one talk, that sort of thing. It's
Donna
amazing.
has so many books that I still can't find it.
Yeah,
She has over
yeah,
100 books, and I'm trying
yeah,
to pull it up, but I can't remember the exact title. If I see the cover, I'll know, but I can't find it. And of
yeah.
course,
And so
I'll be able to find it later.
yeah, and so that's now. I think I've narrated close to 30 titles.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so it does get to that point where I'm like, okay, I narrated this book. When did I narrate it? Book some were self-published, some were for publishing houses. But it's like, I narrated them and they were fun
Now
to narrate.
it's not the I Am Aya book, is it? It's
No.
not that one. It's the one before that. And I read
Yeah.
it. I
And you got,
loved it.
you got me looking it up now because I'm like, I know
Yeah,
this
I
book.
can't. If I see the cover, I'll. Oh, Confessions in B flat.
B
I
flat.
finally found
Thank
it.
you. There you go.
Yeah. Yes.
Confessions and B flat.
It was a
Yes.
really good book.
Yeah, I love
So
that
you
one.
narrated the audiobook for that one.
Yes. Yes. It
Oh,
was I
okay.
believe that was a dual narration where I narrated the male and another a female author narrated the female, and there were parts where we both came together, which was really interesting how the
Mm.
producers at I think it wasn't Harper Collins, it was well, whoever, I think it was HarperCollins that published that book or a subsidiary. It was interesting how they blended that. That was really, really cool how
Mm.
they how they did that. So I just have fun with it. Whenever I get a good project, like I said, I turn down projects that just I say this isn't going to work, and you know
Okay.
it then there are projects that I was like, oh yeah, I can sink my teeth into this one. I know this culture.
Okay. Now we
Yeah.
have 5 minutes left, so we want to talk about your new book.
So real quickly, so I produced just a beginner's guide to juicing, and I think I've told you guys my journey of
Oh,
reversing chronic.
I need that book. Before you even continue, I need that book. I need that book. I juice every 2 weeks. I batch juice. I need that book.
Yes, I put a beginner's guide to juicing, and it was based off of my my health journey as being I'm 57 going on 58 now, and I got more miles behind me than I do in front of me. But you get to a certain age and all of a sudden health issues start coming up. And so some of the typical ones that came up for me was high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes. And the Western way of treating things is to, hey, we'll manage the disease. And when I asked my doctor, I said, well, who wants to manage a disease? I want the cure.
Yes.
And he looked at me like I was crazy.
Right. Well, they don't get paid. If you get cured, they don't get paid anymore.
Well, yeah.
So they don't really have an incentive, really and truly. They don't have the incentive for you to be cured. You have to find your own cure. In many ways, most of the time it's a natural cure. It's something that you already have available to you. It's not a drug that's approved by the FDA.
Right. And then to be in all honesty, a lot of practitioners in the Western world don't get training in nutrition. They get very little training in nutrition. They get heavy pharmaceuticals, dope you up. And so you're already feeling bad. And then you go put another chemical that, upsets your stomach, makes you crazy, makes your brain fog. And so, but they call that healthcare. And so I did not want to, I went that route and it just made me sicker. And when I would go back, they would just prescribe another pill. And I'm like, now you got me on a lunchbox of pills. I got this pill, this pill, this pill. I got 3 pills for high blood pressure. And I'm like, well, what's the cause? And their standard answer was, well, you're Black. Black people are at higher risk for hypertension. Black people are at higher risk for type 2 diabetes. And I kept saying, why?
Why? Yeah.
Why? I was like, if and I'm thinking, I'm putting on my colonizer hat. If we were so strong and well built and sturdy, which is why y'all went over to West Africa and got us in the first place. If we were that if we were that strong and sturdy, how are we now suddenly weak and pathetic? It's not adding up. It's just like the thing, like, don't go to Africa, it's a dangerous place, but yet and still you got all these European countries over there, taking resources. So if it's such a bad place, why are you over there? So my thinking was, if the pharmaceuticals, if they're making me sicker, why am I still taking it? And the last thing I'll say is my doctor said, he says, oh, we're going to put you on this diabetic medicine, but eventually you'll have to shoot insulin. And I was like, no, man, no. So anyway, I created the juicing book because what I did is I went on a research journey because I'm an author and I research stuff. And so I said, you know what? My healthcare, my functionality is my business. My sick care is what my practitioner is interested in. And I want to keep as far away from having sick care as I can. You might catch me when I'm 95. But, right now at 57, I'm not interested in sick care. I'm interested in keeping my health, my strength, my vitality for as long as I possibly can. So what I eventually learned was it's the food. It's our processed, highly processed food. 70% of the food on the American market is processed or some chemical or a product. It's not even food. They call it a product. And then I just said, you know what? Before all of this mechanization of food, how did mankind survive? They grew their own stuff. They picked it fresh from the ground. And they were able to survive and thrive and all of that. So however we got away from that to say, okay, we're going to eat just the processed stuff that's not even food that your body is not able to digest, I stopped doing all of that. And when I stopped doing that, lo and behold, hey, your high blood pressure is no longer there. Your cholesterol numbers are better. Your A1C has dropped from 12.9 to 5.6. And it's like, well, what are you doing different? I said, I stopped eating what was causing the disease.
Right.
Stop eating. It's hard. Yeah. I mean, it was hard to let that chicken go. It was hard to let that stuff go.
But do you let it go all? Did you let it go altogether?
Altogether.
Wow. So
are you a vegan? I mean, you got to understand. Look at this. It's like I put up a photo just today of me sprinting this morning at age 57 and a picture of me sprinting as a 17-year-old. A 40-year difference, and I can still do it. Most people, when they get to 40, they start talking about, oh, my knees, oh, I can't get down from here. I was like, you don't want to encourage that thinking. You want to be able to say, I'm 40 and I can still get it.
Well,
Yes.
40 is kind of young to be talking about knee problems, but some
But,
people
if
do. But a lot of it has to do with weight. And that's something that America has a problem with weight.
So here I am now drinking my
So we
beet
can
juice.
only see half of it, but
I know. But yeah, that's my
Which
jar
one is
of
that?
beet juice.
Which,
This is the beet juice.
the
This
beet
is
juice. Okay.
yeah. This is cucumber, red beet, ginger, lemon, green apple, all
Okay.
juiced. Oh
Okay.
man, it's so good. It's so good. So the book is called Drink the Rainbow, and the idea is that nature is full of food that is natural that you can get. I even have a greenhouse. I started growing my own stuff because when I started growing my own stuff, it tastes better than the stuff at the grocery store.
Yes.
Yeah.
It tastes,
Yeah.
and so I have to thank my mother for that because she was a gardener and she was always growing stuff. And my uncle Jesse was also a gardener. He would grow squash, he would grow cucumbers, he would grow. To me, I was a little kid and I was just like, Unc, why are you out here growing all this stuff? He said, he goes, it's cheaper, boy. Is what he would say. And so, but they would go out, when I go up to my uncle's house, they would go out to the garden, they would pick up a zucchini, they would pick up some squash, and they would just right there.
Yeah.
Just right there. And so it took me a while to get my little gardening chops down, but I got them.
Yeah, well, Earl, we're at the end of our time. We're actually a couple of minutes over. So thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Congratulations on your audiobook narration career taking off, and the new book, Eat the Rainbow.
Drink the Rainbow.
Drink the Rainbow. Well,
We're going to eat it and we're going to drink it.
We're going to eat it. All right, you guys, it's been a plum pleasing pleasure. I know you have somebody else waiting in the shadows. Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate you and love you. You guys take care.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
All right, bye.
Okay, well, our next guest is new to the show, so that's exciting. We have the new and the old, and her name is JaNay Brown-Wood, and she's a children's author, but I don't know if she only writes children's books, but she is award-winning, and it's always amazing that even though we've interviewed almost 900 people, there's always people that we didn't know about that we found out about. So 6 years, almost 6 years, and almost 900 guests. So JaNay, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
And you have a book called This Hair Belongs.
I do.
This is your latest book, correct? So do you have a copy of it?
I do. This is it here. This
Okay.
Hair Belongs, written by me, illustrated by Aaron K. Robinson, and it's published by Astra Publishing for Kids. And so it's really an ode to Black hair and how amazing it is and how it belongs in all spaces.
Okay. Well, there's been quite a few hair books for kids. They say different things as far as the titles, but the message is similar in that if you're a Black child with different hair than some of your classmates, it's fine because your hair is beautiful. So, it's all about embracing your hair. And it's amazing that that's still an issue after decades and decades and decades of focus on it, really trying to eradicate feelings of being different or inferiority or just and there's so many things you can do with your hair now. Now you have a lot more options with hair than ever before too.
Yeah, well, when I wrote this book, I thought about my own childhood, and I had my hair relaxed probably until I was 30 something. And it wasn't until I decided that I wanted to start a family that's when I became natural. Because, the chemicals and all of those things put in our hair and our skin, it's detrimental to our health. So I embraced my own natural hair, and I just thought, man, I want kids to embrace their hair and love their hair way before they get to their 30s, right? I want them to know your hair is beautiful the way it grows from your scalp. And I wanted to give them information about African history, about Black history, about just empowerment of how wonderful their hair is. So they never have that same question that I had when I was a young child, like, is my hair beautiful? Does it belong? So it really is a message of empowerment, so that kids that look like us, that have curly, kinky hair, know that it's beautiful and know that it belongs, and hopefully build their own confidence in their own beauty and their own hair.
Yeah. Now, when did this book come out?
It just came out in January, and it's been really well received. It's got lots of starred reviews. I have these beautiful conversations with people when I read this story, and then they start to share their hair journeys with me. And so I love that because it sparks conversations, not just with children, but with adults as well.
Yeah. Do you go into schools and talk to children of different races
I do.
with the hair issue, and what is their response or feedback? Children who aren't Black.
Well, so I should say This Here Belongs is my 31st book. So I have 31 books and counting.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
so I go into schools all the time, and really what I try to share is empowerment overall. And when I do share this book, I love to look over the crowd and see the young African American students being just excited and proud as they're seeing me up there with my natural hair, and I'm sharing about how beautiful our Black natural hair is. But as for students who might not have the same hair as us, I want them to also see like our hair is beautiful as well. So I feel like it's been a warm reception as I've shared. And what's really cool about this book too is in the back here, I'm going to just show you really quick. It has a lot of back matter. So nonfiction, factual information related to hair, Black pride, purpose of hair, like kente cloth, all the different things and images that show up in the book. It gives historical information as well and factual information as well. So, even if, say, your hair is not African hair, there's still so much to be gained from the text and from the beautiful images that can teach everyone something new.
Yeah. I'm seeing more. It's not a lot of Caucasian women, but more and more Caucasian women wearing braids, wearing cornrows, wearing braided hair, um, which is, fairly new. Uh, I don't think it was happening. The first person that I remember seeing like in popular culture that was white with braids was Bo Derek. I don't know if you all remember Bo Derek. It might be this has been like a few decades back. But she was a blonde haired, blue
Wait,
eyed
yeah, you know who
person.
she is.
Okay, and she wore the braids. That was the first person I remember seeing with braids. But now I see more and more white females. We have a woman at our church from Germany, a white woman, and she wears her hair in braids all the time. She'll take it out for a minute, like I feel like it's between braidings. Like one week we'll see her, she'll have braids all the time. Then one Sunday she won't have braids, but then the next Sunday her braids will be back. So she's embraced them. I don't know if it's because she's at a Black church or
Well,
what, but
I think part of it now is that I think kind of what JaNay was kind of getting at earlier. Like when she said she was growing up, her hair was relaxed. When I was growing up, my hair was relaxed. And then I cut all my hair off and got a Jerry curl because everybody was getting the Jerry curl. But one thing that was not really fully accepted was natural hair. So I'm kind of glad that we have really moved to where natural hair was accepted. In the 60s and 70s, natural hair was accepted. And then somewhere along the way, natural hair wasn't accepted anymore. It had to be straight. And if hair was natural, it was nappy. And then some kind of way we started being ashamed of our natural hair. Now we're embracing it, which is a wonderful thing. Um, so books like this is what I think is helping young girls to really embrace their hair more. So I'm loving that. So that's why I'm really enjoying more books like this where we're helping girls to really embrace their hair and to find more options for styling their hair.
Can that is such a beautiful segue too. I just want to share one page because so much of this, like I said, is about empowerment. But what you were saying, Dr. Lawson, reminded me of this. So this is here. I'll show you the beautiful artwork on this page.
Mm.
And
It
it
is
goes like
beautiful.
this.
Mm.
When our hair was shaved and ridiculed and likened to the wool of uncouth beasts, we lost our way. But hair like this will not be tamed, will not be hidden, will not be shamed, will not be forgotten or lose its way forever. And so the sentiment you were just sharing about like somewhere we were told and then started believing that the way our hair grows is wrong and it needs to be straightened. And then we found our way again. I wanted to hit on that as well. And I
Yes.
think when societally, right, you think about like the Crown Act that had to be passed so that our hair wouldn't be discriminated against within schools and within professional settings. So it's not surprising that we would start to internalize these messages that our hair has to be straight to be considered professional or to be considered beautiful. And so this book pushes back on that and says, no, your hair is beautiful the way it is and embrace it. And,
Mhm.
I think about my own daughter. So I have a 9-year-old daughter, and all she's ever known is natural hair. She's only known me with natural hair as well. Um, but all she's ever known is natural hair. And that's something that I myself take pride in, because I want her to be able to embrace her own beauty, her natural beauty. And so books like this and conversations that we have, I think really set the stage for her to embrace her own natural hair and to feel proud of it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm blessed to have a partner who loves my natural hair. He's not one of those guys who's like wanting me to get the weave. He
Mhm.
accepts me. If I wear weave, he loves the weave. If I wear braids, he loves the braids. But if I wear my natural hair, he loves my natural hair. I don't have to feel like I have to wait until he's gone to take my braids out. I ask him to help me to take my braids out. So, but there are not very many women. I'm not going to say not very many women, but there are some women out there who don't have that level of comfort with their man. I'm never going to forget. There used to be an Instagram video where the guy actually made a song called "Where the F is Your Hair" because the girl came home where she decided to go natural. She had the long weave, or it might have been her real hair, I don't know, but she decided to go natural and she cut her hair off. And when she came home, her hair was short. And the whole song was "Where the F is Your Hair?" Because she came home
Mhm.
with short natural hair.
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing. And everybody thought it was so funny in the comments, where because she came home with short natural hair. We had to hurry up and grow our hair out. You got 6 months to grow your hair out, or else I'm leaving you. And that was the narrative that women were given, and it was kind of sad.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
is sad. I never
ultimately,
experienced that, but
yeah.
I do want to say my daughter who's 30, she just turned 30. She's been married a year, and for her wedding, she had 7 bridesmaids, and she told them, "You can wear your hair any way you want, but it has to be yours."
Mhm.
So some had twist outs, some had um, relaxers. Some just wore it up, but they all wore their own hair. That was her thing. And she's done a lot with her hair. She did the big chop, where it's really like a close crop, but beautiful on her. And then see, now there's a lot more options for hair, especially with locks. So you can do braids, you can do locks, you can do, and it's all kinds of different locks you can do. So she's doing locks now. She let her hair grow back out and she has locks. So it's just, I like having the choices.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Ultimately, when we get down to it, you want to be able to rock your hair however you want to rock your hair
Exactly.
and feel confident and feel beautiful and internally, right? Not needing to be told, oh, that looks good. You do it because you like it. And if that
Exactly.
means you want your hair relaxed, do you. But I just want to reiterate this idea that because there have been so many messages that natural hair is not beautiful, I think so many of us shied away from that natural hair because of that. So my thought is, like, if you want to relax your hair, girl, do you. But if you want to rock your hair naturally, do you. Whatever it is that makes you feel beautiful. I feel like, again, having the narrative of this hair belongs however you want it, should be a message of empowerment.
I agree.
Not just for Black women, for, Black men as well. If they want to rock the dreads, if they want fade, whatever it is, just being confident in your choice of how you want to rock your hair.
Well,
Yeah,
your
I
hair is
think the
beautiful.
Well, thank you.
I think
My
the
little twist, my
confidence is
twist.
the big part of the hair too. If you feel
Yeah, I
confident
agree with that.
about the way you look, you're going to carry yourself with confidence. And if
Sure.
you're like shamed, you're going to be walking around with a bonnet, which I hate seeing bonnets in public. If anybody does that, okay, pray for you, because I just hate see I hate that. I just think
So,
that's for
like, do
home.
you, I guess.
It's for home. It's not,
Yeah.
what's under there that's so important that you couldn't take the bonnet off. That's what I wonder. What did you plan to do for the day? But anyway, but it's the confidence that really, if a person walks with confidence,
Yeah.
it says a lot about a lot of different parts of them, their hair,
Yeah.
their posture, just their skin.
Yeah.
It's important, and it has a lot to do with the confidence. Now, are your of your other children's books, because we don't have all that much time,
Okay.
but what topics do you cover in that? Because you've written so many,
Yeah.
and
Can I want to just hit on one more point you were making,
okay,
and then I'll answer that question.
okay, all right.
Because you were talking about confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to show you guys the first spread of this book. I don't know if
Oh,
you
what
can
a
see it,
pretty
right?
page.
And I'm going to read
Yes.
it to you as well, because when we're talking about confidence, okay?
Yes.
This hair grew from the scalps of kings and queens, each curly strand standing tall as if reaching for the sun beneath opulent crowns. So I love this one because it starts right off with saying, please know that your hair and hair like yours was atop kings and queens, throughout history. So I think messages like that also help boost confidence as well. And now to go back to the question you were asking, what are some of the other themes? And is that what
Yeah,
you're
what,
asking about?
because you've written a lot of books,
I
so
have. Yeah.
I know they're not all about hair.
They
So
they aren't,
you've
no.
covered a variety of topics. And so
Yeah. So
um
since my background is early childhood education and child development, often a lot of my books have some kind of educational bent to them. But many of them focus on things like family and joy and music. Many of them are written in rhyme. So this one is written in it's a poem, but it's very lyrical. But many of my books are written in rhyme. I have a chapter book series with Scholastic that has social and emotional learning within them. So these characters help human characters overcome difficult social situations. So I've got books that feature gardens and growing and produce. So really, it's a range of different themes and topics, but generally what you'll find in most of my books is joy, is community and family, and something new that a child will learn and take from my books that, just helps them educationally.
Okay. One person who wrote a comment in the chat said there was a big dust up last year when Vogue magazine announced a trendy new hairstyle, the cloud bob, which is really an afro.
An afro. Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of flack for appropriation. I didn't hear about the cloud bob, but did you all hear about it?
Yeah, I didn't really pay much attention to it because I was like, that's Afro.
I don't read Vogue, so
but I was laughing though because people would post things like, what would they put? When you put like safe from if there's a storm or something, but they put like safe from the cloud bob. Like it was marked safe from the cloud bob. I thought that was pretty funny. But anyway.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so you're in the education lane, so to speak, in terms of your children's books, teaching different topics or aspects of life. Scholastic is actually going to be is a sponsor of the Children's Festival that we have at the National Black Book Festival this year. Oh. So we were excited to have them on. This is their first year being a sponsor. That's awesome. They've donated
Hopefully
books.
They'll bring some of my books. They're called the Love Puppies. That's my series.
Okay, I'm gonna have the Love Puppy.
Love Puppies. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna have to ask about those because we can request titles. They've donated books before to the festival, but this year they actually are sponsoring as well. So I'm going to ask for that book. And do you know Doris Allen? She's at Scholastic now, but she's new to Scholastic.
I'm not sure.
She's been there about a year. Okay, and she was at HarperCollins before that, and so who your publisher is? Is it an imprint of a big publisher, or are they like an independent press?
I work with a range of publishers, so I've worked with, like I said, Scholastic. This is Astra. But I've worked with Charlesbridge, I've worked with Peachtree, I've worked with Penguin Random House, Hachette. So like lots of different publishers I've been blessed to be able to work with.
And did you write full time, or do you?
I do now. Yeah, so I actually walked away from, because I was a tenured professor in early childhood education, and I was doing that for many years and loved it. But my book started doing so very well that I had to make the choice, and so I stepped away. But what's really cool though is while I write full time, I'm JaNay Brown-Wood, PhD, speaker, author, and educator. So I also go around and do keynote speeches. I do author visits, parent workshops, educator workshops. I do workshops for authors. So I do the whole 9 yards on top of doing author visits for kids and sharing my books, even workshops on early literacy for parents or teaching them how to support their children's brain development. So I do all of those things. But early literacy is definitely something that's near and dear to my heart. So any way that I can help support communities with helping children with early literacy skills, I'm there to do that.
Well, that's awesome that you've been able to carve out a career doing something that you love and something that you're passionate about.
Yeah,
that's a blessing.
And also trained in, because a lot of people will get training in something they aren't necessarily able to have a career with in that thing. They have to pivot into something else, or compromise. But it seems like you've been able to stay in the area that you really enjoy.
Yeah. And I think a piece of that is because I followed my passion. Sometimes people are kind of apprehensive when you hear someone say, follow your passions. Because they're like, but you can't make money off your passion.
Well, that's because a lot of times it becomes a social media trend to tell people to follow their passion and to keep going. I mean, that sounds like something cute to say on social media, but
what's interesting for me though, That
but
worked.
it
Followed my
well, the
passion.
thing is, it worked for you, but your passion and to be able to keep going is something that you were able to do because it's something that you're trained in, and it's something that you something that's actually going to be able to make you money. There's some people they're telling people to keep going and they're doing some bull.
Well, that's the other part. So because I knew what my passions were, then I
Yeah,
also put in the work. Like I put in the work.
exactly,
I got my
exactly.
bachelor's. I went and got a master's degree because I wanted to learn more about how to best support children. I went and got a
Yes,
PhD so I could learn how the education. So I put in the
exactly.
work on top of learning how to write strong narratives and stories and all of that. So I am a believer that like follow your passion, but actually put in the solid work so that you have
And
these
that's
skills.
exactly where I'm going with it. Put in the
Yeah,
real work to do it.
yeah,
Yeah. So I'm with you on that.
yeah, yeah. The work really it pays off, and I think that's why I've been so fortunate and blessed to be able to do this work because I
Mm,
did put in the work. So,
yes.
so like I said, I'm like follow your passion, but expect that there's going to be challenges, and
Mm,
expect that you're going to have to put in the work to make it what you want. And also, I would say one thing that was surprising about becoming an author for me was how much of a business. I thought you sit down, you write your books, but no, it's so you really do have to be business oriented if
yes.
you're going to do this full time. And that was something that I've learned along the way. And I try to share that with others so that they kind of step into the space with their eyes wide open about like, this is a business. So be ready to grind like an entrepreneur because that really is what this is.
Yeah, that's some amazing advice that I hope everybody is heeding. And I say this a lot. I think a lot of people get into the literary game because they want to write a book. They just want to put their thoughts on paper.
Yeah.
And then they don't realize that when they write their book, that they're actually thrust into becoming an entrepreneur with not only are they becoming an entrepreneur, but they're becoming an entrepreneur who's wearing 17 different hats.
Oh, yeah. All at one time.
Yes,
Yeah, well, they're
absolutely.
either thrust into it or they're not. Because if they're not, it's not going to succeed. And so,
Hmm.
a lot of people have unrealistic expectations too. They think, if I build it, they will come. That's saying, and that's just not true. And it takes more than one book. People think I write one book, I'll be on. It used to be Oprah, but I don't know who it's on now. Is it Jennifer Hudson or
Yeah,
somebody?
Cameron Hall or
I'll be
somebody.
on
Yeah.
somewhere and it'll blow up and everybody will buy it and I'll sell 1 million copies and I'll be able to retire at 35. It just doesn't
Mm.
happen like that. Have any of your books been animated? Like have you done any animation with them?
No, but as a storyteller, that's definitely something I am, working on and seeing what's gonna happen. So
That
I
would be
guess
really
the
cool.
answer to that is like stay tuned.
Yeah, that the book that you have, the This Hair Belongs, I can see it being animated and doing very well.
Yeah, that would be
Mhm.
amazing. Yeah. But like I said, I'm a storyteller and I'm a hard worker and I'm always thinking of additional ways to get stories to kids. So who knows?
I
Yeah.
hope it works out for you because you have 30 books. What, over 30, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I would love to see some of your work on screen, whether it's a small screen, big screen, what have you. Because you are out there inspiring our kids, and
Yeah.
I love to see it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. That touches my heart. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and with positive messages, this is important to
Yeah.
have those positive messages. Well, show your book cover one more time so the audience can
This hair
see it.
belongs,
This
and
hair
they can check
belongs.
out my website. It's just www.JaNayBrown-Wood.com. I'm
Okay.
on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm also on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Okay. Well, JaNay, thank you for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV. Um, we're excited about seeing all these books. Children's books are necessary. We need more. We need lots of them. on different topics
Yeah,
where our kids can see themselves on the pages.
absolutely.
So thank you so much for
Thank you
what you
guys for
do.
having me.
No,
Okay.
thank you for being here. And your link is in the chat. So everybody, please
Wonderful.
click that link.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great
Okay.
night.
Bye.
Okay. Well, we're moving right along and we're going to bring on our last guest. I do want to, I said it at the top of the show, but I did want people to know that the National Black Book Festival, we're at 91% as of today, 91% sold in terms of vendor space. And once it gets to 100%, we're sold out. We can't sell any more space because the drop off that we naturally get, we get a certain natural percentage of drop off. It's already built in. So there's no waiting list. Once we sell out, then you have to wait till next year. So it's going to be an exciting year. We got some great things planned, some new things. And so it's going to come up real soon. It seems like a long time from now because we have the summer sitting there. But once the summer is over, it's like, wow, it's almost here. So then it's a weekly countdown. So, and Rhonda and I will be in Atlanta at the National Book Club Conference at the end of July. So we'll be there.
That's coming fast too.
That's
Oh my
coming
goodness.
fast too. It seems like we were just there. Uh, and so I'm going to practice some more of my line dancing before I go so I can make sure, because they have that line dance thing at the end. That was really fun. So I'm going to do some practicing of different ones before I go. So our final guest has a cookbook. She goes by J.W. Young, and I think her first name is Jennifer because that's what I see on the screen. But she writes under J.W. Young, and she has a book called Mama's a Gluten-Free, Dairy-Free, and Sugar-Free Cookbook. It's free of, and what I want to know is, does that mean it's free of flavor? I am a cook. I'm a really, really good cook. And so flavor is very important. And so a lot of times when people say it's gluten-free and it's dairy-free and sugar-free, well, what's left? So anyway.
It's flavor free.
Title. No. We'll answer the question, guys.
Jennifer, thank you for being a guest on
Okay.
Black Authors Matter TV, and welcome to the
Thank you.
show.
Thank you so much. It's so excited to spend time with you and talking about these exciting issues. The flavor of food, you got to have the flavor. With the flavor, it's styrofoam.
You got to have the flavor. So, what got you on? We actually had, well, Earl wasn't talking about cooking. He was talking about juicing, but he was talking about eating healthy. So, what made you go choose gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free? Was it a health issue or was it some other reason?
Yes, and all of those things. Actually, it was something that I was diagnosed with as a young child, about 40 years ago, no cause, no cure disease. And they didn't have a name for it back then. But I knew that, I'd go to church and, we'd have chicken, fried chicken, and we'd have biscuits. And every time I go home, I would get sick. And no one else would in my family. Or if I went to my family's house or my mom made Sunday meal, there was always something wrong afterwards. So probably about 10 years old, my mother took me to the hospital to talk to some of the internal medicine specialists and try and do some due diligence. What's going on with my daughter? It's late 70s, early 80s. Not a lot of information out there about being healthy at the time. It was just like, eat this, whatever you see on TV. And so that was how it started. Just what's wrong with my daughter? What's wrong with me? I want pizza. I want fried chicken. I want snacks. I want, pecan pie. And years went by, and all they could tell me was it's a no cause, no cure disease. Just when you get a flare up, if you have a problem, take your antibiotics. And, I've been on antibiotics for how many decades now? But there really is still to this date not enough science, not enough information out there about what I have. Gluten-free, I think, is a term that's really out there now, whether you have celiac disease, which is an autoimmune disease that damages the small intestines and impairs the body's ability to absorb nutrients from food. Hidradenitis suppurativa is the word that was tagged onto my condition. It's a chronic inflammatory condition, and the proteins and everything that cannot synthesize in the body or be pushed out, through your sweat or anything like that, it'll just stay in the body, and you'll get these big lumps under your skin. You're like, I'm not pregnant. What's going on? Or you got lumps on your arm, and you got lumps on your legs, and your body's just not able to synthesize something in that food. And it gets pretty painful. But what they found over the years is, first of all, about 20 years ago, they gave it a name, hidradenitis suppurativa. And I worked with a naturopathic physician at the time to say, I need to figure this out. It's definitely associated with my food. Every time I have pizza, every time I have chocolate, what's going on? So the answer is yes, it was based on food restrictions that I found out that led to a very painful chronic disorder that also opened my eyes to celiac disease and other things out there where people are afraid or allergic to gluten because of these kinds of diseases that you could have. But also, people these days, they just want alternatives to what's on the food shelves. So they may want a gluten-free pasta or cereal or reduce their carbs or something like that. But for me, it was all based on medical. It was all based on the fact that I really wanted to eat what everyone else would eat, and I wasn't able to. And I just knew that I had to do something with my food. And thankfully, a naturopathic physician said, let's take 30 days and back some things out of your diet, kind of like they would do an allergy test or something like that. And that's what happened. I took the biscuits out this month. I took, the milk out the next month. And sure enough, I didn't have any flare-ups. So I grew into, getting married, having a career and everything. And I wanted to eat still what everybody else ate. So that's what made me put together this cookbook, because I'm not alone. Whether you have a disease or you have some sort of celiac or just gluten limitations overall from what's in the wheat or what might be in the food, or even dairy free. I'm allergic to dairy as well, and it's just another protein that I'm allergic to. A lot of people are allergic to dairy. 2 to 3% of kids growing up these days have dairy allergy. And the last element there, the sugar free, that was by demand. I actually got into a situation where I was prescribed a medication, and the doctor said, it could cause prediabetes. I'm like, why would you give this to me? I don't want it. And sure enough, a year later, I tested positive for pre-diabetes, and I looked into the numbers. There are 347 million people in the United States. Well, 115 million have prediabetes, and 29 million people have diabetes, whether it's type 1 or type 2. And that's a huge number. So when I started telling people about, hey, I made this cookbook because I really love Cajun food. I love Creole food, and I love Southern food, and I can't find it. They said, what about sugar-free? And I know that you probably are thinking right now, I know somebody that has that sugar-free, and it's true. We all know someone that needs that sugar-free element. So that's where it comes from. I put together what I ate. I was always in the situation of making 2 different dinners for my family, mine and theirs, but it was the same food. And so I figured out, how do you make a gluten-free roux? I put it in the book. What's the difference between a light roux and a dark roux? There's also cooking preparation tips. There's how to season your cast iron skillet, because that thing gets passed down as an heirloom, in the old days. They would give you their whole cast iron cook set. Just so that a nice thank you and good luck for your family. And that cast iron is also something that is such a huge foundation of Louisiana cooking, Southern food cooking, whether we're making jambalaya, a one-pot meal with rice and herbs and spices and yes, all the flavors in there. Or you're going to make cornbread in it. My mom made cornbread in the cast iron skillet. And then I put a bunch of oil in. I put, fried chicken, honey drizzle fried chicken. That's in the book. I make it in my cast iron skillet. So I put a lot of information in there too, not only about what's the recipe, but how do you étouffee? What does that mean? It just means sweat the technique, sweat the vegetables. I explain that in the book, and things like that. So just really getting more deeper into how to make those great foods, how to make that honey barbecue chicken, how to make that honey fried chicken that you drizzle honey on. Well, I'm sugar free. Where do I get sugar free honey? I'll tell you,
So Jennifer,
The book.
you're making soul food, but you're making it healthy and it still tastes good.
Oh, it's good. I was not about to come out and represent Louisiana and Southern food cooking if there wasn't any flavor. I would be
Okay, because
booed.
I'm from
She's from
Louisiana too,
Louisiana.
and my family would cuss me out if I talk about here's some fried chicken and they bite into it and it doesn't
Oh,
taste right. Oh, they
but
will get on me.
what? That's the thing. And that was the thing. That was like the motivation for me, as I can't lose the flavor. I can't lose the originality of Southern soul food and Southern food in general.
Yes.
So I use things that pump up that little sweetness. Like I use it's gluten free. I use gluten free flour. I use 10 different, herbs and spices. So that makes, people used to say, oh, there's 21 spices in this. Well, there's 15 spices in that. So, there's flavor
Mm-hmm.
there. But I also tell you what the key is, like crumbling up corn chips or crumbling up corn flakes. That gives you this sweet pop to that fried chicken. And you drizzle honey over it at the end.
My
Get
mom
those.
used to do that a long time ago. She would crumble up cornflakes
Oh, yeah.
for the fried chicken. She hasn't done that in
Yeah.
a long time, but she used to do that back in the day.
That's the thing. And those are the little things that make the difference between, I think, the foods that we eat now, because we maybe learned what we learned, but
Mm-hmm.
Mama used to take it this other way, and that cornflakes is one of them. The honey drizzle on the top is another one of them. Hush puppies with chopped jalapenos, and what type of peppers to use, and how do you cut the peppers so you don't put the hot spice in your eyes. It's all in there, and just little secrets like that. I would have been very afraid to come out with a cookbook to represent the South, especially Louisiana, and you're from Louisiana too, and so you
I'm
gotta
from the
have the
South,
flavor.
not
You too.
Louisiana.
All right.
Rodney's from
Hey,
Louisiana. I'm from the South.
all
And
right.
you
But we
got
all
the food
represent.
has to taste good.
It has to taste good. And I tell you, like, there's different things that you can do. Like, even if you're vegan, I have a recipe in there for the buffalo dredged tofu slices. I mean, it's just nothing more than buffalo fried chicken, with spices where you marinate the chicken overnight in the hot sauce, and that gives you the spice. And you add the flavors to the batter and things like that. So I really kind of go through it, the things that I would normally find even now missing in some Southern food that I try and go into the restaurant. I wanted to make sure it was all in there because I didn't want to get laughed out saying, okay, well, this sounds nice. There's
Well,
no
I
flavor.
do know that it is possible. I live in the DC area, and we have a couple of vegan soul food places out here, like New Vegan is out here.
Mm,
And I will tell you, they do have very good soul food places out here. And you bite
mm,
into it and you would not be able to tell that they are vegan soul food. I mean, I had um a vegan macaroni and cheese barbecue bowl, and it was a vegan macaroni and cheese, and it was
mhm.
I think it was like a barbecue jackfruit or something, but it looked
Oh,
just
yeah.
like pulled pork. And I'm not sure how
Hmm.
they made the barbecue sauce, but it was a vegan barbecue sauce. And it was
Yeah.
very good. So I know it can be done. I don't know how they did it. I think the
How do you make mac and
the
cheese?
macaroni and I think the
How you do
macaroni and
that?
cheese was made with what is that? I forgot what it was. I forgot what it was. It'll come back to me, but they made it with that you can get over at Trader Joe's.
So
Um,
it
Yeah,
didn't have cheese in it?
no, it didn't have
like that.
cheese in it because cheese is
Cheese
not
is not
vegan.
vegan, it's
Yeah.
dairy. So
Mm.
because my mac and cheese has cheese. There's 3 or 4 cheeses. It
That's
has
not
heavy
vegan.
cream. I know. It has heavy cream and it has milk. And
Ain't nothing
people
about that
say
vegan.
it's the best mac and cheese they've ever had. Everybody who
Yeah.
Rhonda, one day when you come here and I'm not working the festival because I can't do it during the festival, I'm gonna let you taste my mac and cheese. It is the best. Everybody says it's the best they've ever had, but it's definitely not vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've done some with the soul food recipes. I've made some changes, to make healthier foods. For example, I make all of my vegetables. I don't put meat in them. My greens, I do meatless greens. I do meatless green beans. It tastes delicious, but I use um, virgin olive oil as the active ingredient. And, I use garlic, I use other spices. And it doesn't taste like greens with meat. It tastes different, but it's good. So it's all about tasting good. Good. Food has to be good.
What is something that we can switch right now that we would probably never really know the difference?
It's your sugar free. I mix monk fruit and allulose granules 50-50. And
Okay.
I'm telling you, I have the best lemonade ever. The best. Oh, that's my thing. I really I learned a lot with the sugar free. And there's alternatives. There's companies out there that already pre-mix the monk fruit granules and the allulose. I just personally feel that that's the perfect sweet. And they're both plant-based, and it's so sweet. It's so good. That would be the thing I would say. Swap out, go get a bulk bag of each and mix them 50-50 and use it just like you would sugar, and you will not know. And you talk about taste too. Because I had to make every meal for 20 years it was like us versus them. I had to make my meals of gumbo and etouffee and dairy-free and gluten-free. And I had to make my family's meals the traditional way. Sometimes I would slip it in there and just say, let's see if they can tell the difference, And so
Okay.
I made sure that they would come back to the kitchen and say, I want some more of that. I would start telling them, say, well, that's the gluten-free stuff. You want some more? Yeah. So, and my family is all from Louisiana, and they know what gumbo should taste like. They know what consistency, they know what dark roux it should be. Look, they know all those things. And so I think I had the luxury of having the family right there to say, okay, well, I made my version. What do you think? And I had to actually to get their blessing on the gumbo, the etouffee, the venison chili, all kinds of stuff. I was shocked. And that's also what motivated me to the point where my ex was Cajun Creole, and he told me, you don't have to make 2 meals anymore. Just make your stuff. I like the spice. I like the flavor, and I still use what's important, fresh herbs here, dried herbs there,
Yeah.
when not to use those things. I added tips like that to the book. If you're using dry versus fresh herbs, how to adjust the recipe if you're using gas stove versus a cooktop, induction cooktop, how to adjust the recipe and still get that flavor, still get that punch, still get that savory that you really, really expect in Southern food cooking. So I feel like I had that luxury where there was 2 meals for 20 years, and then they said, just make it yours because we like your version. So that told me that, okay, I got that flavor.
That means that you got the stamp of approval.
Yeah. I got it.
That is real dedication to make 2 separate meals. That is dedication. Because I would have said, look, this is the food and I cooked it with my own hands. And you need to eat it and like it. Otherwise,
I think the other key is you have to make this. You can't do it on a holiday because no family likes you to experiment on Christmas or Thanksgiving. So you have to sneak this in, like maybe during the summer or during the spring or something, and then
test it out
before the holiday.
Yeah, test it out first. Did you now for your roux, you don't use flour, correct?
I
Or
just
do
use
you use
gluten-free
flour?
flour.
Oh, you get
It's a
gluten-free flour.
blend.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Is the difference in consistency, or what is it?
Um,
What's the difference with gluten-free flour versus your all-purpose flour?
I believe in the flour that I use, I have a go-to. I don't mix up different flours together to get the perfect one. I tried to do that one. It didn't work. So for example, when I started out, I would use a rice flour and try and make a roux out of that. And it would burn
Mhm.
really fast. It would just not taste right. It wouldn't give you a real flavor to it. It didn't give you that smoky flavor. It just kind of looked brown. And so I did some changing, switching out the recipe because I still wanted that fluffiness. When you cook roux with the standard flour, all-purpose flour, it kind of blooms a little bit. It gets a
Mhm.
fluffy. It's got to
Mhm.
look like peanut butter, you know,
Yeah.
and when you
Mhm.
roll it around in the
I like
pan,
it a little
there's a
darker than peanut butter though.
Yeah,
yeah,
a little
yeah.
browner, a little
And
browner. I
you
don't make
do, and
gumbo, but I do make an awesome gravy. I'm not from
ooh,
Louisiana, so I didn't grow up on gumbo. I never
uh-huh.
even heard of gumbo before I moved to Texas, which basically have Louisianas in Texas, because we didn't
Right.
we didn't eat that. It wasn't. It had migrated to Virginia when I was growing
Uh,
up. We did. My
I
mother
see.
made soup, or she made stew, but we never had gumbo. So, and I've never
Well, the
tried to fix it because it seems like it's very complicated and expensive. And
well, it can be. I think, the funny thing is when you get right back down to it, making a roux or making the starter for gravy is the same thing. It's just about
mm,
how much, just flour and oil. So it's
well,
just
but
about
I
how
use
you,
butter. I don't use oil. Do you do
oh,
you use
butter.
do you use oil
Yeah.
with gumbo? I mean,
With
when
gumbo,
people make gumbo, did you use oil instead of butter? I just wonder. I don't
yeah,
know.
you use oil with
Yeah.
a roux.
Oh,
The
okay. I
only
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I
Oil,
never knew that.
oil with don't put no butter
With
in my
flour.
gumbo.
See, okay, with gravy, but
yeah,
gravy's thicker. A gumbo is
true,
soup is a
true.
soup.
Well,
Gravy
the
is
only
is
time
thick.
you
So
can use a butter. I found that to be traditional in Louisiana, there is one special time that you use butter to make a starter, which is basically like making a roux gravy, and that's only for etouffee. That's only for etouffee. You got to have
okay.
butter for
Hmm.
etouffee. You just sprinkle a little bit of flour in the beginning to kind of get that thickness and that savory flavor going. But that's
Hmm.
as close as thing I would put butter in, and but it's the techniques are a lot the same,
Hmm.
when you
I've
butter.
seen people do it, but I didn't realize it was oil instead of butter. That's new information
Yeah.
for me. Because
Hmm. Hmm.
as it is, but you're right. You etouffee, because I make that too. Um, But I haven't made it. I use this like a little starter pack pouch.
Mm,
I don't
gotcha. Yeah,
I don't
I
know
actually
what
work.
people do, like if they don't have the starter pouch, what all did they do to, because the starter
Right.
pouch, you add the butter, you add butter and water, and then I add other stuff to it, spices,
Mhm.
onions and peppers and stuff to
Right.
it. So
Similarly, in the cookbook, I take you step by step from how, the difference between diced, chopped, and minced to cast iron versus coconut oil versus monk fruit versus allulose. I take you through all that stuff in the cookbook and why, and yeah, I even have a recipe of making your own Cajun seasoning so that you can adjust the salt because a lot of people are very
I, I
sensitive to
like
salt
that.
these days.
I like
mhm.
Yeah,
that.
so I did that too, so that you could have more control over your food. And you talked about it's expensive to have anything. As soon as you start saying gluten-free, dairy-free, for some reason the price of the pasta and the snack goes up. So it's interesting. They did a study that said if you bought gluten-free pasta versus the standard wheat durum pasta, it's 139% more expensive for gluten-free. And so if I'm missing something, shouldn't it be cheaper? So I want it
Well,
to be cheaper.
no, it's
That's why
it's
I put
more
everything in the
because
book.
of the volume.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
sell a lot more of the others, so they can sell it at a
That's true.
cheaper price.
That's true.
It's all about the numbers. It's
Yeah, that's true.
economies of scale. That's what it's called. So that's why. But
Yeah.
also they know people, if they need that, they'll be willing to pay more too. See, so it's a
Okay.
combination of those two things. They know
Right.
people who buy those things are not going to be as price sensitive because they
Mm-hmm.
need those, or they made a decision that they need those. So they're not going to be as price sensitive.
Well, I like that. That's true because a lot of, and in this cookbook, I put a lot of that control back in your hands, our hands, because just like I said, I included a recipe for Cajun seasoning. I'm not going out and buying no shaker can of Cajun seasoning anymore. It's the same 12 ingredients. It's the same 12
Yeah.
ingredients, and you just put salt to your taste. And so I hope to make this book more accessible to people who needed those types of foods, sugar-free, dairy-free, gluten-free. How to make your own coconut milk, coconut cream. I use that in my coffee. Um, my family ended up switching from creamer to using the coconut cream. And so there's a lot of good information in there that'll hopefully reduce the cost so that you don't have to go to the specialty aisle or the specialty grocery store to get, some of those ingredients that I'm mentioning. You can do a lot of it yourself. I felt like if you just knew what the ingredient was, you could still make a great recipe. And that ended up being the outcome for the book. And that was a goal for the book and the outcome for the book.
See,
Okay.
y'all have given me some confirmation tonight. Earl's sitting here talking about juicing. You're talking about making my own seasoning because since I juice, I have all of this pulp left over. So what I do sometimes is I take the pulp and I dry it out in my Ninja Foodie. And so when I dry it out, I put it in my little grinder and
Mhm.
I turn it into basically a powder. That can be my seasoning.
That's right. And you can do that with it's kind of like making your own for a meat, like a bouillabaisse, like
Yeah.
a good base to your food and use that constantly. Yes, do those things. Do those things.
Hmm.
I highly encourage it. Take the control back from that shopping aisle. I'm also a food safety consultant and quality consultant. I've been doing that for about 25 years. And it's scary out there, for what some of the manufacturers are willing to put into that food to get more out of that, that money that we talked about. And you don't want to know. And so it's
Yes.
always best the more you're informed about how to do it yourself. And again, that was another driver for me to make this cookbook is just do it yourself. It tastes so much better. It's kind of like when they say, the best food comes out of your garden, the best food comes out of your own kitchen. It's true. So I put the tips in there, the techniques, I put where to find things, what you can buy on bulk, what you can make yourself. I put it all in there because we've got to take that control back and stay healthy because we are in control of what goes in our mouth. We just may not know what's in the ingredients. But once we know how to make our favorites, we're going to keep doing it.
Did you show a copy of the book, the cookbook, the cover?
I don't think she
I
did.
I don't think
Did
you
you?
did.
I have one. I don't know if it'll show it up
Put it
there.
close to
But,
your body. Put it
oh,
close to your body. Yeah, there
There
you
you
go.
go.
There you go. Okay, so it's Mama's gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free classics,
cookbooks,
Louisiana
Louisiana.
classics and Southern food essentials.
Now you know Louisiana folks are gonna walk right
Yeah.
past that book. So I'm glad I'm glad you're on the show tonight.
Ah, and that's okay. I hope they find it, come Mardi Gras time, you're always trying to make somebody comfortable or come celebration time. In Louisiana, we celebrate everything. There's Rice Festival, Crawfish Festival, Boudin Festival. There's a
Any
time for
excuse to
celebrating
eat.
everything. Yeah, exactly. It's celebrating to eat. So you bring that, and I think
Well,
you'll find some really good favorites in there.
yeah, Louisiana, you all do have good food. We have good food in Texas, but is different food. The Louisiana and half Louisiana is in Texas. So we really get a lot of Louisiana food here. So it's really delicious. So anyway, we're at the end of our time. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show and informing our audience about how to eat more healthy. That's what it's
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you, ladies. Have a great night.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
you too. All right, well, that's the end of our show for this week. Next week is going to be an exciting show because it's the birthday show. For me and Rhonda's birthdays are 9 days apart. So we have one show that's between. My birthday is Saturday. So your birthday is when? Like the next?
The 29th.
The 29th. So, so this is going to be our birthday show next week. So we still have 4 guests and they're amazing. So we'll see you all next Tuesday night on Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.